Just thought I'd make a quick video this morning. I was about to start sewing some wallets and it's a bit cold today and I didn't want to sit down and sew the wallets and then get cold. But I also didn't want to sit here and put my jacket back on because I'm in the shop here and yeah, I thought to myself, I'm a leather worker. Why do I need to put my jacket on? I've got much more interesting things that I could do. So what I'm about to show you on here, I have this old reindeer hide. I tanned it myself. It's been through a heck of a lot. I've had it for about 3 or 4 years. I've used it as a cover on the seat of my motorbike. I've used it as a sleeping mat when I've gone camping and a blanket, and it's actually about the right shape at this end. This is where the front legs would be, here, and this is the neck. It's all about the right shape that if I were to put a buckle and fixings and everything on these old front legs here, it would actually work as a cloak, cape, something to keep me warm whilst I'm sewing. Just keep the chill off your back kind of thing. And yeah, probably spark a few conversations as well in the shop. So what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to make up the bits that I need. I'm still doing this as if it was a live broadcast, mainly because the shop is open and I don't want to have customers come in and stuff. I can just pause this video, almost like a live editing. So I'm going to do this quickly in one shot, show you just a little bit of leather work, make it look nice if I can. I'm not going to sew anything. I'm going to use these copper rivets to fix it. These are saddler's rivets. They're really good for the purpose. They should do the job. So without too much more of ado, let's get on with it. So I've cut this piece for the buckle. I'm using this antique brass buckle. This is more of the deer hide. I've got a few offcuts from the wallets that I've made. So I'm just going to use this. It's an antique brass Napa roller buckle. I'm going to use that. First things first, have I got the right sized? No, I need the next size up. Hang on a sec. Yeah, that'll do. So this is just going to hold the buckle. What I want to do is get this roughly right on here. And then chop it. There we go. Just give it a nice little bit of shape. And that's it. I'm debating with myself whether or not I should have it free to twist, so just put one in there loosely, like put one rivet in, or should I put in 2 and get it to hold firm? I'm going to go with 2. I could even do 3, couldn't I? It's about the right pattern to do 3. Ooh, let's do that. Means I get to hit things with hammers a lot, so I always like that. I could potentially skive these sides down, bring them together a bit more, but I don't think I will. I'll keep the thickness of the leather there. It's not going to make much difference to the end piece. So I'll put that in there. Just eyeballing this. Yeah, that's gone through a long way. Just to make sure that the layers stay together properly. Just going to do that. Yeah, back that way a little bit. Oh wow. I maybe hit that harder than I intended. Crikey, that's gone right the way through. I don't think I did it that hard. Okay, hit off. Okay, note to self. Crikey. Wow. There we go. Didn't hit it anywhere near as hard. can't believe I just shot a hole right through that. That's ridiculous. Okay. So this will just cut a slot that I can put the, centralise it a little bit. It's a slot cutter. Then cut a hole for the buckle. Yeah, stop there, Ben. It's only a poly maul. It's not as if it... There you go. Right. So see how that works? It's bang on the right size for that buckle, which, believe it or not, is intentional. Right. Where's my edge shave? That's just going to go around the top side because these two halves are going to go together. So I don't want to round off the inside here. I just want to round off the outside. And then I can burnish it. This leather is not quite thick enough on that part of the hide. There we go. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but the trolleys for the cafe next door that are used to transport the chips from their potato shed, or tatty shed as it's called up here. They're just wheeling them back and forth outside on the concrete, so they make a heck of a racket as they do it. Alright, there we go. Just quickly put the token hole on the edge, get a nice burnish going. And then we'll make the other part of the strap. Mentions this and stuff in videos before. It's, I believe, a Japanese product. I could be wrong. I'm welcome to be corrected. It's water based. It's a burnishing agent, which means that it will assist the natural process of burnishing, which is where the edges, the fibre on the edges binds together to create a water resistant finish on the edges. It will happen naturally and with handling, but this is just giving it a head start, and it gives you a much more finished looking product or item at the end of the day. So this is an off-cut piece of the deer hide that I've been using for wallet making. It's actually a very, very nice piece of leather, and I've ordered more of it. I received that the other day. I think it's really nice. I shall be making a few things out of it. Watch this space. Okay. much there. It just takes the smallest amount on this. It's really, really small amount. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember to put the buckle in first before I glue it. I just want to put a touch of glue just in here to make sure it all stays nicely lined up whilst I'm working on it. But there you go, you can see, if I can get out to the camera, the edge is nicely burnished. Right, where did I put the glue pot? You wouldn't think I could miss it. Seriously, I can't. Ah, there it is. I do that from time to time. I just can't see anything. You know, the obvious. Now, this is a contact adhesive that I'm using. It's a neoprene rubber based contact adhesive. It's got solvents and stuff in it, and it can be nasty to work with for long periods of time, which is why I actually have, when I'm working with shoes, because I'm actually a shoe repairer as well, I have an extractor bench. So this small quantity that I'm working with right here, as far as my bodily systems are concerned, is nothing. I've been inhaling this stuff for many years now. I'm probably going to withdrawal over the next lockdown period. So I'm just I'm gonna leave this to set, and then we'll heat it up and glue it together. So whilst I'm letting it do that, I'm just gonna make the strap end of this buckle. I'm just gonna put that there, cover the pot again. This is a strap cutter. It's set to the right size for the buckle, as I know because I used it for that. I'm just going to cut a strip out of this leather. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to get started. Sometimes it'll just go. Please just go. Okay, I'm not going to go. Let's just try it this way. Ah, there we go. Pretty sweet, isn't it? That's exactly 1.5 inches all the way along. Lovely. Gotta love that tool. There we go. So that's a pretty reasonable length for what I want to do. So I'm just going to cut the end here and here, I think. I'll add some holes and stuff. Remember, Ben, don't hit it so hard, you go right through. Get it as even as I can. There we are. All kinds of stuff falling off the bench now. I haven't even got to the rivets yet, and that's going to be a lot of banging and crashing. Yeah, this is a scrap bit that I had from making the wallets, and it's right on the thin part of the hide. It's probably only a little over 1 millimetre thick, this leather. And this is the smallest edge bevel that I've got. Not quite small enough. So if you'd like to see me buying new tools and using new tools, please, by all means, buy some wallets or belts or anything else. Shameless self-promotion here. don't know if the camera's picking up that noise. Having a problem with one of the machines in the tatty shed next door. I think it's throwing a fit and buzzing. I think it might be one of the freezers or something, or the fridges that I've got. And it's just the wrong pitch of my tinnitus. It's quite annoying. Let's just do that again if we can. Oh, I had to turn that off. It works well, doesn't it? Oh, excuse me. Just quickly going to carry on. We've got some customers in the back of the shop there. I can pause filming just for a moment or two whilst customers are talking to us and things like that. So, not something you can do in a live broadcast. That's got the edge beveled. Just get it burnished. I'm actually going to go on a course 2021 in August. Book myself a place on it. I'm going to learn how to do tanning using bark tan and things like that. Bark tanning, oil tanning techniques. It's going to be a week-long course. Camping outside, etc. And they actually asked that we bring as many natural fibre camping and clothing materials as possible. So in part that's why I'm doing this as well, not just because I want to stay a bit warmer today, but I can actually take this reindeer hide with me and use it to keep warm with around the campfire in the evening. You might be thinking, but August, it'll be warm. No, this is August in the Highlands. Camping on the side of a Highland loch, about 100 miles north of here. Well, it's over 100 miles north of here. It'd be out the other side of Edinburgh, I think it is. So it's going to be potentially very different weather. That sort of bit, get around that corner. so much faster with this product, this Tokenol. Believe it or not. I mean, you might think this is going slow, but the way I've been doing it in the past and things like that, some of the different products that I've used, a lot of just rubbing like this, and you're not really getting very far very quickly. This stuff's an absolute godsend. Right, there we go. I think I'll match the pattern that I've got on this one and do the three holes like that. Don't really matter which end I do it. Now remember, Ben, you don't have to hit it hard. That'll do. There we go. Right, I'm going to heat this up with a heat gun and just glue it together. Sorry, just had to pause again then because the customers came to the front of the shop to pay for their items. But it's a good job that I did stop, because I reminded myself, just about to glue this together, and I haven't done a keeper. I always forget the blooming keeper until it's too late. So I'm going to do one now because I want to put it inside here. And then when I close that up, and that's all glued together, it'll just be held in place. A keeper is just basically that little bit of material that goes across there that would be used to keep the end from flapping around. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'll cut myself a decent sized one. Yeah, something like that will do, won't it? You can tell I'm kind of doing this all off the cuff, can't you? Okay. I've made a practice of just putting the knives straight back in the sheaths afterwards. Saves a lot of bleeding and swearing later. Right, so that's got to go around here, like this. Lovely. That's my wife's phone. Lou?
Yeah.
Have you left your phone in there somewhere?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm not even really measuring it. So let's just skive that way, that way, and the two ends come together like that. So you can see the edges fade into each other quite nice, and you get a smooth transition from one piece to the other. Right. Now I am most likely going to have to sew this bit. Just going to check and make sure that that fits there. Yep, all good there. How best to do this? Where's the sheath gone? There it is. First of all, there it is. If I was doing this for a belt, I would do quite a long line of stitches along the leather to try and reduce the toilet paper effect, which is just like a perforation, because that's all the stitches are. It's a perforation, and it's a weakened point in leather. If there was enough strain put on it, you could tear it like toilet paper. Obviously most leather isn't that weak and it will survive it, but it's better to not tempt it kind of thing. Now this is just a keeper, so if I put a couple of stitches across here, that should be enough. I think I'll put 2 or 3 along here just across the middle, and that should be enough to hold it. It's not going to be under any kind of huge strain. I'm just trying to find, because that's my 2 stitch. Ah, it's over there. There we go. Perfect. Glue on here. So I've got to remember to line myself up on the camera properly. Probably thought to yourself, but you've only put the holes in one side, how are you going to sew it? This is where an awl comes in handy. The holes made by this aren't actually quite big enough for the needle and thread to go through. The awl finishes the hole, so to speak. I can't think of any other way to explain it really, but it will just open it up enough for me to be able to easily get a needle through. This is basically just a marker. This just marks the distance and the orientation of the hole. So I'm just going to put the just going to cheat like this. Normally I'd sew with 2 needles and an awl in my hands. I've demonstrated that in the video before. So there you go, you can see the holes are now much larger. And I actually have some preloaded needles. There we go. It's actually leftover thread from sewing something else. I'm not going to do a proper safety stitch on this. There's not a great deal of point. There's not a great deal of room to do it either. I'm just going to do this in the same way that I did the pockets on the wallets. It's not proper, but it will hold, and that's the point. So I'm just going to poke the needles through. A lot of belts these days, the keepers are just held together with a metal staple. Some are better than others, but even doing this way is better than a metal staple in my opinion. It's often stronger and more likely to last. Right, here we go. Here I am looking for scissors and I've got all these knives around me. Okay. Just going to burn the end. There we go. And that just melts it. Synthetic thread. It's melted. You know what I haven't done? Burnished it. Gone and got ahead of myself a little bit there, haven't I? As per usual. Attention to detail, Ben. This is all completely unplanned and off the cuff, so I haven't really sat down and thought about what I'm doing properly. This is just literally because I want to make this reindeer hide into a cloak or a cape or something. Reindeer is actually hide is a very, very good insulator. It would have to be. They live somewhere that's very cold. over the edges of this. But again, to a certain amount, to a certain extent, as I use it over the years, it's going to bevel anyway. And the edges will take care of themselves. It's just that in the interest of making it look nice as a saleable product to a customer, you do all of that in advance for them, for the leather. Right, put that on there. Touch on the tight side, but that's good. Snug fit. The leather will stretch. There's enough room on there to get the strap through the buckle. Precisely what we want. Now I'm going to heat it up and stick it. This is just a heat gun. It's set to a couple hundred degrees. Just needs a few seconds on the glue to activate it. Also warms up the room nicely. Very expensive way of heating the room. I'll line up the holes in the edges. There we go. That's going to stick very well. So that's got all of that ready. I'll just put some holes in here, maybe at 1 inch centres. And a start, let's see, if we had something in a hole there, that bit of the keeper's, that's not going to reach the keeper, is it? So I think the first hole is going to have to go about there. Hang on, what did I say it was? About there, wasn't it? That just about reaches the keeper. So we're going to go 1 inch. I'm just double checking because my eyes deceive me with this many lines sometimes. It's one of those things with dyscalculia. Rulers don't make a great deal of sense. They don't. It's really weird. Ow. Right, there we go. Just double check that. Yep. Pretty much spot on. That's not bad for eyeballing it, really, is it? You know, I just followed the marks, but made sure it was central as far as my eyes could see. Okay, time to bring in the hide, and we'll make the holes ready to receive these. So I'm just going to support this here in front of me. And which way around do I want it to go? Go around that way, couldn't I? So we could attach that there. Attach that there. Yeah, looks like that'll work to me. I've got no idea how well it's going to fit like this, if it will or not, but it should work. Famous last words, okay? I'm just going to give it a shot. I just want that basically over the hide here to stop that from touching, because that's going to get cold, and this is going to be right next to your neck. That went through the other way, didn't it? Yeah, like that. I think I might need to get a slightly smaller hole punch. I've got one in here. I didn't know. Right, slightly smaller hole punch. Right, here we go. Let's do what we did before. Ooh, is it too hard again? I've taken a big chunk out of the mat. Yeah, that's in the mat. He chopped a load of hair as well, going through it like that. It's just the extra hair. Crikey, can you see all that? This is part of the reason why it's so warm. And this is just on the front leg and it's so dense with fur. Right, get these washers. So these are proper rivets. They're called saddler's rivets. And the idea is that you obviously have the back of the rivet on one side of the material. You can see this flared end here. And then you put the washer over the top of the rivet. Now this takes a bit of banging to get it on there because it's a very tight fit. And it needs to be, because you trim the rivet to the right length and then peen it over. So you make a burr on the end, you burr it over, and that burr holds on the rivet and stops it from falling out the other side of the leather. It's a very, very good way of doing things, in my opinion. It's much better than the speed rivets that you can get. Now I've moved it and they've all fallen out. Oh, come on. You stupid boy pike. There we go. Right, now we're back in business. So this is the tool used to put it on there. That can be used to burr it over. You get a nice little kind of dome on the end of it. I prefer just to smack it with a hammer, strangely enough. That bit there is a hole up the inside of this, and that is what we're going to use to push the rivet down. Sorry, the washer down on the rivet. Give it a couple of taps like that, and it tightens it up. Just let the tool find its own way down. Got a little chunk of steel under here. It's a jeweler's block. Just gives it a solid thing to hit, to stop on. And I have left the side cutters somewhere else. Right. Give me a second, I'm just going to find them. Here we go. So I cut these down, maybe leave 2 or 3 millimeters of metal standing up proud. I should have grabbed the hammer whilst I was there as well. Just got a small ball peen hammer. Now, when you cut these, it's going to go ping, it's going to fly off somewhere. So I'm just going to get it in about the right place and put my hand over it. And then chop through it. There we go. They do come off a bit of a ping, so it's best to protect yourself and any panes of glass nearby. There we are. And pin it over with a hammer. This is the noisy bit. Told you it was a bit noisy, didn't I? I have struck leather a couple of times there. I'm struggling to hold it all. Plus, I left these bits a little bit longer than I normally do. Gives it an authentic look. All right, so I'll put that. Ooh. Yeah, I won't be able to put the whole bunch through that, will I? I'm just going to put that on there. There, looks good to me. I always use a polymer or a plastic maul or hammer on metal tools. It stops the end from burring over. If I were to use this metal hammer all the time, the end of the tool will burr over, and sometimes those burrs snap off when you hit them and they go ping everywhere. If you do this, you get a dent in this, but that's okay. You can sand it back down, or you can replace the maul part, or just replace a tool. I mean, you can see there's a few dinks and dings in it. It's not a problem. Oh. Right, keep that rough at the same place. Yeah, that went through. Good there. Right. And I think what I'll do this time is I will put that down first before I start putting these through. There's more hair coming out of it. Some of the washers on it. Oh, come on. Well, fingers and thumbs today, it's cold in here. off. I'll try and get them a bit shorter this time, shall I? There we go. Oh, excuse me, I better answer that. Okay, sorry about that. All sorted now. I'm just going to peen these over. The job's done, I think. Yeah, that's far easier when you leave them shorter. There we go, nice rustic appearance to it all. Right, see if I can re-angle this camera so you can see me. Apologies, I've kind of half wearing a mask as well because I'm in the shop. And I have to keep dragging it over to... There we go. Right, can't quite see me, but if I stand like this you might be able to. Let's just see how this fits. Might need to put a tighter hole in it, I don't know. Get that through there. First time going through there is going to be a bit tight, I think. There we go. Yeah. Right. That's sitting nicely. I'll just see if I can take this off with the mount. It's only held on with an elastic band. There we go. So, sit that. And because of the, oh, that's why it's not sitting properly. I've got the neck. They'll come up behind me there. Right, let's just see. Sorry, didn't mean to put a finger over the lens. There we go. See the chandelier behind me. Neck comes up the back of my neck. I can do it. It's all reversed in the camera view, so it's all really confusing. There we go. So that can come up, and when you're sitting down and you've got the wind behind you, it's quite nice just to flip that bit up and you get this nice barrier behind you around the back of your head. And just, there you go. It's almost like a hood. Now that should stay on my shoulders quite nicely and keep me warm whilst I'm sewing. Whatever else I need to be doing to stay warm. There we go. So if I wedge it, actually, it can go slightly looser and might drop down a little bit lower. I'll have a little play with this, see where it sits nicely on me. I've got a reindeer hide here as well that I actually bought for the shop. I mean, this is my personal one. I'll just show you this. It's reindeer hide. It's really quite nice. The back end of the animal is obviously the widest point here. This is across the back of the, this is across the back legs, and we could actually easily add a strap and do the same thing with this one. Either end depends on how wide your shoulders are. I'd have said that this would fit a teenager or a lady a little bit better. That's the neck part of the animal. You can see there's no front legs on it. They've been taken off. I left them on this one because I got to tan this one myself, so I left it here knowing that it would work quite well like this. But anyway, that was a 10-minute job that took slightly less than an hour to film anyway, because I've had customers in and out the shop whilst I'm doing this. But if you like that, if you would like me to do the same thing with the roe hide, just let me know. And stay tuned, we're going to try some experiments whilst we're in lockdown. We'll put a video up shortly, Lou and myself, explaining what is coming up for the courtyard and our various Facebook pages and YouTube channels that we have. So yeah, stay tuned, and thank you very much for watching, and have a Merry Christmas.